Everyone knows that prompts are the most important part of ChatGPT or any AI, being a large language model. Today, we're going to look at a special kind of prompt called a layered prompt or process called prompt layering. And this is for more extensive and more complicated ChatGPT or output that you may need. So let's take a look at layered prompts. A couple of days ago, a friend of mine gave me a call and he said, I'm having trouble getting what I need out of ChatGPT. I just can't get the output that I need. I've gone back and forth with it 100 times and I still cannot get exactly what I need. And after he told me about it, I asked him if he had tried to use a layered prompt. Now, prompt layering is basically where you ask ChatGPT to do one thing at a time. Look at it like a cake. You have a bottom layer of a cake. You put on a next layer, the next layer, the next layer. So prompt layering is basically the same thing. This is helpful when you have something that has multi phases or is very complicated or has many moving parts. So I'm going to show you how prompt layering works and give you a real life example. This example is something that I'm kind of familiar with, so it was something where I knew the nuances would be difficult to hit with just one prompt. So what it is, here's the prompt. I'm organizing a 7-on-7 football tournament. 21 teams playing on 5 fields with 45-minute games. Now, 7-on-7 is kids football. They play. My son played it from the time he was 8 years old until he was a senior in high school. And it's 7 players versus 7 players. It's all passing and it's touch. There's no pads and it's a lot of fun. The parents love it. The kids love it. And they have tournaments where the kids will come in and they'll play multiple games in a day. It's exhausting. It's in the summertime. It's incredibly hot. So there's a lot of moving parts with a 7-on-7 tournament. There's a couple of tournaments here in Texas that are, may have 70, 80 teams coming to that tournament on 15 different fields around town. So it's a really cool thing. But let's go ahead and get into this and see if ChatGPT can help us with this tournament schedule and the whole process. The tournament lasts 2 days. The first day is a round robin where all the teams play each other. The second day is the playoffs. No team should play the same opponent on day one. You just play everybody once. Each team can only play a maximum of 4 games in a day. I asked ChatGPT at this initial prompt, help me outline the structure, including how many games each team will play and how to determine playoffs. So the first thing it does is it will go back, it will give me a confirmation of what I've told it. 21 teams, 45 minutes per game, day one, day two. Then it gave me an example of a day one round robin format, making sure it sticks with the structure that I gave it. Total games, games per round, rounds required. Then it comes out and says that scheduling plan, each round will feature 10 teams in 5 games because we have 5 fields. Teams will rotate opponents. Since each team plays 5 times, they'll have 5 rounds off, or excuse me, 4 times, they'll have 5 rounds off. And the buys, a buy means when a team is not playing, like they get 1 game off where they all go sit under a big tent and they drink water and eat oranges and whatever. The buys are evenly distributed, so no team gets an advantage. Then it goes through and it gives me the format of the playoffs. Top 16 teams are going to play in the playoffs. Here's how they're going to decide tiebreakers. Here's going to be 5 rounds of playoffs. It goes through and it's got that all figured out for option one. Option two, which we're not going to do, is a double elimination playoff. That means more games, which would last until the night, the nighttime. We're not going to do that. And then option three is a small championship bracket for all teams. And it gives me time breakdown for day two. Should be around 9 hours for the first day and 7 to 9 hours for day two for the total tournament time. Gives me a summary. That's great. So it's got it figured out what I need from that initial prompt. So now I start layering. Okay, here comes the first layer. Now, remember, each time, actually, that should be team, each team can play only 4 games per day. There are 5 fields to be used. Teams will need a rest period in between games. We also need to have a lunch somewhere during the day on day one, well, on both days. So now work on day one schedule. So now that we've given it a little more context and a new layer, it starts on day one, repeats everything that it knows. It starts putting together time slots. And remember, we have 21 teams, so it goes ahead and takes the initiative and names teams A through, I think, through V. So team A versus team B, team C versus team D, etc. So those are going to be the 8 a.m. games. Okay. Also lists a team that's not playing during that time period. That's their bye. And establishes a lunch break like we asked it to, and then has the afternoon games. That's great. Goes through and reconfirms what I asked it to do. Now I put in another layer. We have 15 total referees that are available. Each game needs 3 referees, but if there are only 2 available for a game, that's not preferable, but it can work. Now assign referees to the game. So it confirms what I told it, how many referees we have, the number of games per round, etc. It puts together a rotation strategy. Then it makes assignments. The 8 a.m. game will have referees assigned 3 per game. So referee 1, 2, and 3 will work on the 8 a.m. game. 1, 2, and 3 looks like it's going to have them work on every game. So obviously, it's made a mistake. The layer didn't work properly. And so, this is the kind of thing where ChatGPT makes a mistake. You have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If we had asked it to do the referees right up front, we would have this problem and it would go back and recalculate everything from the beginning till now. But right now, since it's made a referee mistake, it's just going to go back and fix the referees because everything else has worked out pretty well. So we go through, revise the referees, list them 1 through 15. That helps fix the issue with them not recognizing all the referees. So it goes back through the rules being what I've asked it to do. It started off with the referee assignments, and then I stopped it here where it says day one referee assignments. It started calculating, and I stopped it, and I said assign referees, which my spelling here is atrocious. Assign referees to specific fields. That was a good idea. Somewhere above this, ChatGPT said, "Would you like to assign referees to a specific field?" I thought about it and I thought, you know what? Yes, that would probably be a good idea. So I've stopped it, told it to do the fields. Now it's revising the referee assignments. And it pops up like this: referees 1, 2, and 3 are going to work on field 1. Referees 13, 14, 15 are going to work on field 5. After 3 rounds, they're going to rotate to the next field to ensure fairness. This keeps your referees having to run all over the place, going to different fields. This is a good plan. So now it's got this very extensive schedule with the game and the referees all built into one schedule. And if you look at this, you're going to get dizzy. Now, imagine if we took this, we said, "Great job. Thank you, ChatGPT," and we printed it. And then we sat with a whiteboard or a piece of paper and we started writing out team names, referee names, trying to figure out who's going where, what. It's a great schedule, but it's not user friendly. So what I did was after they have gone through and given me the rotation plan for the referees and a little more final adjustments, I did one thing that I should have probably done earlier, and I could have done it in the very first prompt, but this is another layer. I asked it to change the game times to on the minute, where games would start instead of 8 a.m., game would start at 8:03 or 1:01 p.m. to make sure they stay on time. The way these tournaments work is they have a timekeeper for all games, all 5 fields. He has a horn, and he blows the horn when the game starts, and he blows the horn when the game ends. So everybody starts at the same time and ends at the same time, and it stays very organized that way. So I ask it to make those changes for the game times. So it's gone back and changed our game times from 8 o'clock to 8:03, 8:54, etc. It's done a great job with that. It's put in all of our referees, it's put in our games, but we still have this cluster mess of data sitting here that's going to be hard to interpret. It also did the referee rotation by their fields. So it's got everything organized. It did a good job. Now I took off at this point. Something happened. I had to go, and I came back a couple hours later. Said I want to continue working on this. Is it still available to modify? Yes, we can keep modifying it and refining the schedule. Terrific. Now I need to I need to do day two schedule for the playoffs. So it gave me some different options. Option one, two, and three. Very extensive on how the playoffs would work, and I decided to go with option one. And my playoff bracket schedule it created included the team numbers versus uh, uh, what teams on what field, the referees where they're going to be on what field, and it did a good job at putting together uh, this playoff schedule all the way down to the quarterfinals. Then we have a lunch, the semifinals, a third place game, which is awesome, and then the championship game at 2:43 p.m. Great job, terrific. But like I said, it's still really difficult to interpret and understand, especially if you're going to have this printed and you're handing it to 21 different teams and their coaches and then the parents, and they're trying to follow the kids. And who do we play next? And these dads are crazy. The dads will go watch the team you're going to play next, and they'll go scout them and take a look. So it's really important for these folks to have something that is easily understood. So it gives me the key features of the playoff structure, gives me next steps. It did a great job in doing all this. So what I did was I said, now make modifications to day one schedule. I want to replace the team number with the team name. And I had a spreadsheet and I listed the 21 team numbers, and then I gave it a list of teams corresponding to the number. And I asked it to replace it with the team number with the actual name of the team. Also, replace the referee number with the referee name. And that was on my spreadsheet also. So I uploaded that. It's got it right here. And Cowboys are number one team. Number two is the Broncos. Three is the Bandits. Five is the Ironhawks, which I think is a great name, but it's not better than number four, the Stormhounds. That's got to be the best name that we made up for this imaginary 7-on-7 football tournament. So it assigned names to the numbers. That's going to make it easier. And then it also assigned a referee number is Mr. Smith. Referee number 4 is Baker. Referee 6 is Wallace. So let's put all that together and assign those names and numbers according to my spreadsheet. Then it's gone back and it has developed the full day one, um, schedule. So at 8:03, the Cowboys are going to play the Broncos on field one. The Bandits are going to play the Stormhounds on field two, etc. And at the end of the day, the Grizzlies are going to play the Steelhounds down here on the 10th slot of the day on field five. It's going to be a great day. So this is day one, and everything looks good, although it's missing the referees and their assignments. So let's go back, and we said there's a small mistake on the schedule. ChatGPT put in 2:43 p.m. instead of 2:43 a.m. So I said there's a mistake. He listed games 7 to 10 with a.m. and p.m. And please assign the referee names to each of the fields instead of referee numbers. So it's come back now, and it has created the day one schedule with all of our teams, and we'll just go across this one game here. On field one, the Cowboys are going to play the Broncos, and Smith, Johnson, and Terry are the referees. That's game one. That's terrific. And game one, the remainder of the fields, just scroll right across. Everything is scheduled for the entire day. So the Cowboys know that they're going to play the Bandits next, and the Cowboys know they're going to play the Vipers at 11:27. So everyone can look ahead And Mr. Referee Smith, he knows where he's going to be on what field through the day. Okay, so that is a pretty good schedule for that tournament. Now all we need to do is finalize day two. Let's assign the referee names to the playoff games. We can't put in team names because we don't know who's going to be in the playoffs, but we can darn sure get the referees all set. So we've got them assigned to their games for day two, all the way down to the championship game, which is Smith, Johnson, and Terry going to do the championship game on field one at 2:43 p.m. on day two. So those are would have been very difficult without using layered prompts. And layered prompts are something that is very, it's common sense, right? So you give an outline in the beginning of what you want to do or what you're trying to accomplish, and then each step of the way you'll add a layer to make sure when you get good output and the output's good, you don't need to modify it any, great. Then put on the next layer. When that output is good without a need for modifications, you put on the very next layer. That's prompt layering. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoy doing these. As always, thanks for coming to the little tutorial, and I'll see you next time.